Our viewers, you're welcome to another beautiful episode of Punch Sports Extra. You know what it means? It's time to talk about sports and give you the very interesting updates coming up in the world of sports. It's the second Monday here. It's the second edition of the show for January and for the year 2024. Shegonda is my name. I can't change that for $1 million. And I have with me Abiodun Adewale. I was about to call you Sadiq. I mean, of course, one of your names, but
all of you
we don't use that here. Anyway, very good afternoon to you, Abiodun.
Of course, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's time to talk about sports once again. You're smiling. I'm smiling. It looks like it's time to smile.
Of course.
Are we doing it again?
Well, 5 days to go. We are behind. Let's do it again.
All right, very quick. Let's check the Punch Sports Extra paper for this morning, for this day. It's important for you to know that in a couple of days, the African Cup of Nations, popularly known as AFCON, will be kick-starting, and Africa is ready. And indeed, the world is ready. But what players are going to be missing AFCON 2024 as a result of injuries? Let's start from home. Our very own Wilfred Ndidi, Abiodun Wilfred Ndidi, is not going to be making it to the Nations Cup. I think it's a sad one for the Super Eagles.
Yeah.
We don't have his likes in that team. He's one of a kind.
Of course, over time, we've talked about the importance of Wilfred in Nigeria's midfield.
Yeah.
He played in second AFCON at Cameroon, and even in a drab game for the Super Eagles, we saw how much of steel he had. We saw how much of impact he could make in the team. He was already included in the final roster for this competition before he pulled out due to the muscle injury. And more bad now is the fact that he's even going to be out for 3 months.
3 months.
So, bad for Nigeria, even worse for him.
City.
And for Leicester City as
All right, our very own Taiwo Awoniyi. I mean, was supposed to be a striking partner, or perhaps one of the top guys there, even if he was not going to be striking partner with Victor Osimhen, out of the competition as well, and even affected his club so badly that his manager, Cooper, got sacked. Mainly because he was not available.
And they only started winning after Nuno Espirito
came on board.
So it's a little bit tough for Awoniyi at this moment because by the time he even recovers, he would have to work his way back to the new coach's plan. Into the new coach's plan at Nottingham Forest. And for Nigeria, he will just have to be thinking of the next phase of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Yeah. His own was confirmed even before the provisional squad was released. But before then, it was just all hopes dashed for him before that moment, and we knew he was not going to be part of it. But we understand he's gradually coming back into recovery. But for him, it's going to be more work at Nottingham Forest for them to avoid relegation again this season.
Another battle. All right, this time around, I'm moving away from Nigeria now, but still staying with stars that you're not going to be seeing in Abidjan. Homeboy himself, Wilfred Zaha, is not going to be participating.
From what we understand, it's due to his absence in their recent games. The opening rounds of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, he was not available for selection. So he's not injured. Nothing happened to him. He was just overlooked by the coach because he was not there recently. And
when they needed him.
To him too, it was there was no bad blood. He said good luck to the boys and you'll be winning. But at 31, with 31 caps for Ivory Coast already, I think he might just be making his way out of the national team already.
And focusing on earning more money as he eases himself out of football in coming years. All right, Thomas Partey of Ghana, no party for Partey in Abidjan.
No party for Partey. Sadly, he's been one player that has been in contention to miss the AFCON. But he's just coming back into recovery. But Mikel Arteta had to explain that this guy is not even ready for any competitive football
right now.
Not even Arsenal will risk him. So he will just be there on the bench, taking part in recoveries and all of that. So, but if he was going to be rushed to the AFCON, it might just be we might just get some news of a relapse or a setback in his injury as well.
All right, still talking about the front page of Punch Sports Extra. The Super Eagles of Nigeria trashed a Dubai club, not 1-0, not 2-0, not 5-0, not even 10-0 like it happened against Sao Tome and Principe, but 12-0. 4 goals for Ademola Lookman, 2 for the King of Africa, and so on and so forth. Sign of good things to come?
Well, sign of good things to come, but then a test came today.
Currently, as I speak to you, Nigeria is losing 1-0 against Guinea. Nigerians are mocking the Super Eagles on Twitter as I speak right now.
So, sign of good things to come in the 12-0 drubbing of that Dubai club yesterday. But today, there is a real test in front of them. It's only a pre-AFCON friendly, but then I don't think
Goalkeeper Nwabali. I mean, this was practically his first game for Nigeria.
Litmus test.
Yeah, and he's already conceding.
Like I said, it's just
minutes into the game.
It's just a litmus test, and by the second half, we will see another goalkeeper, which I'm very sure. He was not involved in the Dubai friendly yesterday, so I guess that is why he's even starting this one today. But let's just keep our fingers crossed and see what the outcome of this game will come. I really want to see character, regardless of friendly or no friendly.
Regardless.
Let's see character. Let's see some fighting spirit. Let's see some positives to take into the tournament as they return home tomorrow before departing for Ivory Coast on Wednesday.
All right, we are saying it's 1-0 presently, and like I've just been corrected, Twitter is no longer Twitter, of course. Sorry, we always still call it Twitter. It's X. Okay, so on X, Nigerians are mocking the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and 1-0 in favor of Guinea against Nigeria. The Super Eagles will be home tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah,
they'll be back in Nigeria.
They'll be back in Lagos tomorrow before their departure to Ivory Coast on Wednesday.
All right, still talking about our front page, Punch Sport Extra. Very quickly, away from football, Rafael Nadal, the king of clay, is out of the Australian Open. Of course, we all know that's the first Grand Slam of the year. Yeah. I'm always looking forward to Australia and what it gives because it sets the tone for the year. But this time around, a relapse of the injury that kept him out for months.
And he's won a game and he's lost a game since recovering from that injury. We thought it was going to be gradual and he will ease into it. But after another game in the Auckland series, he just said he was not ready and the injury, he had a setback and he just had to withdraw. Like you called him the king of clay. This is the first major Grand Slam of the year, not in his best of tournaments
so when it comes to
the Australian Open. So it's the grass court. So he might just be trying to take his time. He's aging already, so he might just be taking his time, recover fully before the third Grand Slam, the second Grand Slam of the year, the Roland Garros itself, where
he's the boss.
Is the boss.
All right, still talking about injuries. Christopher Nkunku, the golden boy of Chelsea, injured once again, says his manager Mauricio Pochettino.
I guess they must be sweating a lot. I mean, Pochettino and every other person involved. And they must do everything to get this guy back to fitness. Because we saw the difference he made
when he came on.
When he became fit in the short stint that he had. So they must be really sweating and be thinking of what they can do to ensure that he gets back to fitness, at least before the end of the season. I
want to come back. Anderson screams, money is not everything after all.
Of course. And the English media are not having any of whatever he's trying to do this time around, and they are lashing out at him. And not even his manager, Steven Gerrard at LTFAC, he's not even spared in this because the narrative in the English media is that they went for the money.
He went for money.
And they should just dance to the tune of whatever music he's playing.
The man wants to come back to playing in England. Of course, he wants to go to the Euros in the summer. And he needs to, he said at the point that his manager, the manager of the English national team, Gareth Southgate, said, hey, I need you playing. There are so many youngsters here in England that are playing regularly. And you are on holiday because that's not football. To some of them, they consider that as going on holiday. So if you want to be in my team, if you want to be on the plane, you need to be playing football, football.
And guess which team is interested in Henderson? Chelsea.
Interesting. I think they need him. they need him. And that will be a good one for him. He'll be playing at the top, receiving cool money. He should have not left for Saudi. All right. Anyway, that is just a little bit of what we have on the front page this morning. Yes, sir. Punch Sport Extra. Go out there, go meet your vendor, grab it. If you do not have access to a vendor, go online, Punch Sport Extra. And yes, sir, you'll be enjoying the very best of information as regarding the world of sports. Yes, away from our front page now, let's move on. The Nations Cup, that's the biggest thing right now in sports. Everybody's talking about the Nations Cup. Everybody's looking at the Nations Cup. All eyes on Africa. One of the most sophisticated, rugged type of football ever.
You will ever see anywhere.
Preparations of the Super Eagles. Like we were saying, 12-0 the other day. Right now, they are losing
1-0
against Guinea. I don't know if it has changed, but just some few seconds ago, it was still 1-0. Yes, quick one. Olorunleke Ojo, Nwabali, Uzo. These are our goalkeepers. Who do you think is going to be number one?
Well, at this point, with the body language of Ose Pesero and all of that, I think he's still adamant about sticking with Francis Uzo in goal. And Stanley Nwabali, who only moved to Chippa United some few months ago, earlier last year, is now been tagged as a foreign-based goalkeeper, whereas I guess if he was still in the NPFL as about the time they were making selections for the AFCON, he might not even get a look at all. But then that is just by the way. But I think Jose Pereira has his mind made up about it. But for their preparations generally, entirely in Saudi, in Dubai, I think I have some reservations, particularly about the timing and how well they've been able to make the most of whatever facility or whatever they wanted to do in Dubai. The camp was supposed to open January 2nd last Tuesday, but then training didn't actually begin until Wednesday. You know, you still have to do a lot of work in the gym and all of that. And the players, the arrival was not really on time. They had about 19 players from the first day, but then to think the king of African football himself,
he came in a little late.
And nobody gave any explanation for that too. And of course, it might not remove anything from what they might be able to achieve in Dubai, but then 1 week training in Dubai, not up to 1 week if you ask me, and then coming back home, then jetting out to Ivory Coast again. Maybe they could have just shifted their own plans and focus more on how well they will be. They wanted to play 2 friendlies, called it off. They are playing 1 now, and they will be going into the AFCON on Wednesday. So not so much has really been injected to the ball. They just have to be thankful about one thing. Aside from Wilfred Ndidi, maybe Kelechi Iheanacho, now that he's still in doubt and hoping to join the team, it's good that they don't have any injury worries at the moment. So,
especially of the major boys.
So if we have the 24 or 25 players fit, let's just go into the tournament and take it one step at a time.
We are not having money issues. They said the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has released monies. So there's no give me my money, give me my money. They have their attention strictly on football.
Of course, and not just about the Super Eagles. I think President Tinubu actually approved that they clear all outstanding salaries of some sports federations in the country as well. So when it comes to the Super Eagles, I'm very sure they will take the lion's share of whatever is coming out of that money. Funds. So so they don't have any excuse as of now, and I hope, as the approval was made, the funds get disbursed almost immediately to ensure that.
Approval is different from disbursement.
Approval is
you will not understand it if you have not worked in certain circles.
Of course.
Approval is different from disbursement.
So it's it's a different ball game entirely. So I just hope the money gets disbursed as soon as possible, and they get it, and it becomes some kind of motivation that they need. And from some stories that are making the rounds as well, we understand that if they get to win the AFCON, each of the players will be pocketing nothing less than 35 million naira each.
We are not even talking about Equatorial Guinea. You are already AFCON win.
So, I mean, by the time all their match bonuses will accumulate, they will be pocketing at least 35 million naira.
I think I should come to this question now that we are here. Can the Super Eagles of Nigeria win this upcoming AFCON?
Nigeria can win the AFCON. It's a question of possibility.
Let's do the math. Let's do the math very quickly.
It's a question
in
of
1
possibility.
minute. Equatorial Guinea win or draw or lose?
A win.
Straight win.
A win against
3 points.
Equatorial Guinea.
All right, we jump to Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast will be tough. So if we get a draw in that game, let's just drink water.
Okay, drink water. So from Equatorial Guinea, we jump to.
We have to make it 7 points.
7 points
against Guinea.
2 wins, 1 draw.
2 wins, 1 draw should be enough for us to top the table and go into the next round. The last time we even topped the table in Cameroon with 9 points. Look at what happened to us in the round of 16.
Tunisia.
So the most important thing is just get out of the group stage and take the next opponents as they come. Tunisia were nowhere near us.
If we go out of the group and then we meet, let's say, second, it's most likely going to be.
Remember the last time we won the AFCON? We were not favorites. We
were not.
The Super Eagles were like a draw soup FC during the group stages in 2013. I think we drew 2 matches and maybe won one. Then we moved to the next round.
We played Burkina Faso earlier.
Then
I think we drew Burkina Faso in the group stages.
We drew Zambia.
Yeah.
So it was more like a draw soup FC. And when the quarterfinals, the games started coming in the quarterfinals, everybody had their expectations lowered.
Very low.
The teams we were playing
were
low. Apparently bigger than us. But
in fact, reports have it that after Ivory Coast in 2013, they had booked the flight.
Their flight ticket. So we just had to weather the storm like we did in 2013. And apparently we have a better and bigger squad at the moment. So it's about how we bring all these things.
But we do not.
We have all these things on paper. It's about bringing it to the people. So let's just get out of the group. It doesn't matter.
And then we take it as it comes.
It doesn't matter if we get 9 points or 7 points. Let's just get out of the group.
All right. I think Biodu is more optimistic than I am because I don't know. Super Eagles of Nigeria, there's a way they deal with you, really. But I mean, I'll pick a little bit of his hope. All right, away from the Super Eagles now, but still talking about AFCON. If we don't win it, who are the guys that can win it? Very quickly.
I'm tipping Egypt to come back.
Okay.
It's been a long time since Egypt has done that. Mohamed Salah leading another generation of Egyptian players who will be desperate. Yeah. They lost the last final against Senegal in
one of the most emotional finals
ever. So you want to give it to them, and you have to remember Senegal again, who won their first ever AFCON tournament.
Wow.
So they are defending champions. They are coming into this. They are not depleted. They are as good as they were in 2021. Yeah. So you tip them to come back for the title again. Ghana, it's been over 40 years since we did it.
Wow.
So maybe a little bit of spirit, maybe a little bit of luck will push them. They've been trailed by hard luck over the years. I remember they played some finals in 2010, losing to Egypt in one of the finals. It was really tough for them. So maybe a little bit of luck, even when you don't think they have the best players on the continent. It might just be enough to push them. But defending champions Senegal, perennial champions Egypt, who have mastered the art of winning the Nations Cup, but have not done it recently, they might just become back.
So it's Egypt and
Egypt,
Senegal for you.
If Nigeria is not
or
taking
Ghana.
it.
All right. Let's quickly review some of the games from club football this time around. FA Cup, Arsenal, Christmas champions. You call them. I think it was you. Was it you or Peter? I think it was you that called. It must have been Peter or Bajela that called them Christmas champions. And just before we could say Jack Robinson, they are falling apart in the league and they are out of the FA Cup. Up until the 85th or 84th minute, it was still 0-0. And between that time and the referee's whistle, it was 2-0.
Yeah, Liverpool knew what they had to do.
Yeah.
Curtail the pressure, just soak up the pressure. They were not able to curtail Arsenal's chances. So Arsenal were just punished for being wasteful.
They had no proper number 9.
At all. And you have to pity them a little bit, because just before that game, Gabriel Jesus, who would have played that game, was ruled out with a knee injury. So it was a bit, I understand how tough it must have been for Mikel Arteta to just do some makeshift and just go into the game. But then they still had everything to win that game. Yeah. Liverpool did what they had to do. Yeah. No Salah, no Van Dijk, no problem. And they just have to march on into the next round of the FA Cup. 14-time champions. Now out, they can't even do a record-extending FA Cup win again.
So sad. The king of assist, they call him, the man with a scary face, but a more dangerous foot. He's back. Kevin De Bruyne.
And Jurgen Klopp already said it, that Kevin De Bruyne is back and the whole country is already shaking. Everybody feels it. And he showed us a glimpse of what we've been missing when he came on as a substitute in their 5-0 drubbing of Jeremy Doku. So it's just Kevin De Bruyne doing what Kevin De Bruyne does.
And there's no Haaland yet.
And there's no Haaland.
Now imagine Haaland is back.
So let's just wait. The English Premier League will be back January 13, and of course we'll be seeing a lot more of that.
All right, moving over to the Spanish La Liga. Real Madrid 1-0. Who got the goal? Tony Rudiger. Fantastic game there it was.
They just have to keep up the pace. Girona are saying, just like the slogan of the year 2024 in Nigeria, no grief for anybody. Girona, even Girona, as in Girona for grief, like they don't want grief for anybody.
Girona have been fantastic.
They've been, and the only team that has beaten them this season is Real Madrid. I saw their game against Atletico Madrid.
They drew that game. No, they won that game 4-3.
Bonkers. 4-3. Morata scored a hat-trick in that game, but it amounted.
And you thought it was over until the 80-something minutes. They got the winner.
They scored a late winner, and that was all. So you need to see their character. But so the La Liga for me this season is really more about that team, that Onazumi team, trying to shock everyone.
But reports have it that they can't make the Champions League. They can't qualify for the Champions League.
For the Champions League.
Because they are owned, the same team that owns Manchester United, the same individuals who own Manchester United own Girona.
The new owners of Manchester United, you mean?
Sorry, of Manchester City. Manchester City.
So because
Girona have the same owners.
Clubs, they can't come
and that,
into I think
they find a way around.
They can always find a way around.
You know these technicalities and these guys know how to play.
They can always find a way around that. It's just maybe one billionaire coming from somewhere to acquire
keep
a
buying
larger
shares,
percentage
and then
of the
maybe
club
an internal agreement,
ownership changes and all of that.
Serie A, oh my goodness, Napoli are suffering dangerously. 3-0 they lost
against Torino. Torino.
Yes,
and
Torino.
their fans had to protest about the attitude of the players.
That game was
well.
poor. I watched that game. It was poor. It was very poor.
So poor that their fans noticed the attitude of the players, and they just had to protest about that immediately after the game. It's surprising how they are falling apart just like one season after winning the Scudetto. Then it tells you a lot about how much of work they put into the championship last year. They saw the wave, they rode it perfectly. Every player was on point, including our own Victor Osimhen. So I think for most of what they did last season, they've already reaped the reward. And even on individual level, players have reaped as well. And look at their manager, Asaden. He had to quit when the ovation was loud. Imagine the amount of sticks he would have been taking if things were going south under him this season. So I think it's more about what happens to champions who just come after a while, eat it, and they are not able to sustain the momentum. So,
especially in Italy. They do not sustain momentum in Italy in recent time.
And maybe they lost players during the transfer window.
But I don't think they should be this bad. They're about 9th or 10th now.
They lost players, but they really did not do business. Except for our own man, Victor Osimhen, that was always in the news. They really did not do business as much as they should do if they really wanted to challenge for the title again.
All right, one of the guys who are challenging for the title right now, you will have to mention their name. The old lady, but they have new energy. They were losing 1-0 when I checked, and I thought, oh my goodness, what is happening in Salernitana? There's a Nigerian in Salernitana. He's always around those kind of clubs. Simeon Nwako, or Simeon Nwako, as they like to call him. But before I could say Jack Robinson, there was that man, Duvan Vlahovic. With that powerful header making it 2-1 every day. 3 points to the old lady. I think they needed us to keep Inter Milan on their toes. Surprisingly,
maybe because they played away from home. Salernitana was still the same team that Juve beat in the Coppa Italia 6-1 few days ago. So the job was much difficult this time around. And
because I thought they were going to lose.
Even when they were playing against 10 men, it was much more difficult. But that is what you get. And I think that is why a lot of clubs are still having Vlahovic on their radar. The guy
I used to know him from his former club. It was that fun. It was very special. I think he shouldn't have gone to Juve because, I mean, a lot of clubs were really ready to get him as his bride. But, well, he's still banging in the goals. Very, very quickly, let's talk about the January transfer. He is not a January transfer, but he will be coming in with new energy like January transfer. Who else? Ivan Toney, back from suspension after he got involved in the betting scandal. And he says he wants to repay Brentford. They were loyal to him. And I think he's going to do something like what Osimhen did, ensure there's a deal on ground so that even if he's going to leave, he's not going to leave for free. Brentford and Thomas Frank especially, who have stood with him in times of trouble, we enjoy some of the dividends of his democracy.
Well, 8 months just like yesterday.
And, gone like
I think he's gone through a lot. He's granted a lot of interviews between then and now, explaining some of the things he went through. He
has to turn off comments on his Instagram
and all of that. So I think he's learned his lessons. I just hope his mojo is still there. He scored a hat-trick in the game for the big team. So maybe that's just a flash of what we should expect.
Yeah, old Ivan Toney.
Teams are already preparing the money to get him
Chelsea
in the summer. So maybe by the time he comes back, help Brentford a little bit. Maybe they get £100 million off him, and that's bye-bye.
And he moves and they get somebody else for probably 15-20 million. All right, Kylian Mbappe and Real Madrid. I hope one does not become the hand of the other. I hope if Real Madrid does not finish Kylian Mbappe will work. Because at this rate, I don't know. Every time you say Jack Robinson, there's always a Mbappe Madrid marriage rumor always coming around. Every time. Now there's a deal that he has signed something. I don't even know what. Right now, I can't believe anything on Mbappe and Madrid right now.
I hope we don't see a twist any longer because in other reports, we understand that he prefers the EPL.
And he wants to go to Liverpool. But there was a breaking news yesterday that said he had signed a deal with Real Madrid. I mean, pre-contract deal with Real Madrid.
Pre-contract, because as this January, he could negotiate with any club. So maybe he has signed a pre-contract with Real Madrid. Good for him. But then when it comes to Mbappe, Real Madrid, like you said, there is always a twist.
Every time.
There is always
every time. All right, still talking about transfers. You people, Punch Sports Extra desk have been reporting Victor Osimhen to Chelsea. I've seen about 2 or 3 reports from Punch Sports Extra saying Victor Osimhen to Chelsea is like 70-80% done.
Well, I wish we were his agents. We would have been able to tell you a lot.
You guys have
but from the reports, it looks like all the influence are starting to tilt towards the Chelsea. Blue side of London, and who knows, we might just see. He has just signed a new contract with Napoli. When he did, we all knew it was for them to get money, a substantial amount of money on him. So, and his current valuation is about 120 million. And we understand Chelsea are ready to break the bank and pay this money. Up. And that's the kind of player that you need. So, it's only what bothers me now is what kind of football he comes to play. I mean, the level of competition he comes in with by the time he comes in the summer. Chelsea are a mess this time around, stuck in the middle of the table. Maybe they can win one cup competition or the other because they really look good. They are in the semi-final of the EFL Cup at the moment. But then, when a player like Victor Osimhen comes to your squad, I don't expect you to be playing in the Europa.
Are they even going to make Europa?
And it will take like one of their celebrity fans that I spoke to over the weekend, he said it will take a miracle for them to even make the Europa League this season. So it's tough, but I think for all that it's worth, Victor Osimhen is the kind of striker that they need, and I'm very sure by the time if that move materializes eventually, teams like Manchester United will have to bite their fingers at for not getting him when they should have.
But he just got what's his name?
Rasmus Haaland.
Somebody calls him the Abaland. They just got Holland.
Rasmus Haaland. But then, one thing about Manchester United that I really blame them for, when they should have prioritized interest in Victor Osimhen, they were chasing Harry Kane, who was bent on moving to Germany.
England, yeah.
So it was Harry Kane was their top choice. They were mentioning Osimhen, but everybody knew Osimhen was not their priority. They were busy chasing Harry Kane, and when Harry Kane couldn't materialize, they had a plan B. It was Rasmus Haaland. So by the time Osimhen comes and he begins to show them what they are missing, I just hope they won't be regretting it. So by now, like I said, all influence are tilting towards the blue side of London.
I really do not know if Osimhen should make that move to Chelsea. Chelsea right now have all the money in the box, have all the talents available, have a manager who is young, who understands the game. Unfortunately, they are not clicking. Nkunku, one of their very best, who is back from injury, and we saw flashes, is back injured. I mean, these guys don't look like they can make Europa, talk less of making the Champions League. And you are a guy who plays Champions League week in, week out, at least for about a couple of seasons now. How are you going to be going to a club that is not going to be playing in the Champions League? Well, if the money is good, why not? Maybe the heart can follow.
And if he brings the influence that helps them get back into the Champions League, that's what you call an African king.
And if he probably does that, and then Haaland moves to, say, Real Madrid in 2025 or 2026, Osimhen does 1-2 years with Chelsea, and then he moves over to City.
Bigger interest.
I'm doing the match already. Unfortunately, I hope the Super Eagles fans and the Super Eagles players don't start doing the maths when the Cup of Nations begins in a couple of days. Unfortunately, we are used to mathematics. I do pray that this time around, we do not need algebra. We do not need 1 + 1, multiplication, division, subtraction, and all of that. How to have a successful AFCON. Biodun, you are not going for AFCON, but I know our men, one of our men will be there at the Cup of Nations. Definitely, you are going to be getting the very best of live updates coming from us. I'm talking about Stables of the Punch as regarding the African Cup of Nations. On behalf of Abiodun Adewale, who is right here with me, my co-anchor, on behalf of Olalekan Olabode, who is behind the cameras, on behalf of Suleiman Adeni, my wonderful super duper producer, on behalf of Melanie Shola, and yes, Marvelous. I'm saying thank you very much for being a part of this package. Join us same time next week, and together we'll be talking about the African Cup of Nations. My name is Shegun Odwayo. Have a great week.